13,000 years ago, the Pleistocene world was warming fast. Average global temperatures had soared by more than 3 degrees Celsius since the chilliest point of the last glacial maximum, around 7,000 years earlier. Ice sheets were in headlong retreat, and meltwater flowing into the ocean had helped raise sea levels by some 200 feet. But just 1 century later, everything changed. 12,900 years ago, much of Earth's northern hemisphere suddenly cooled down. In Greenland, temperatures plummeted by more than 10 degrees Celsius in just a few years. It was like flipping a switch, and the lights stayed off. For a millennium, a good part of our planet was, again, bitterly cold. Humanity's capacity for adaptation, once more, was put to the test. How is it possible? How did the Earth change so abruptly? The immediate cause seems to have been a sudden slowdown, maybe even a collapse, of the Atlantic Ocean currents that today push warm, salty water north towards the Arctic. The influx of huge amounts of fresh water can disrupt these currents, since they function like a pump that transports heat from the equator into the Northern Hemisphere. There is widespread cooling when they break down. But what could have spilled so much water into the Atlantic Ocean that it hobbled a planetary pump that moved about 1.5 trillion cubic meters of water every day? A leading explanation has long focused on what was then the world's largest lake. Covering some 400,000 square kilometers across today's North American prairie, that lake, named Agassiz, slowly emerged and expanded as meltwater trickled from the shrinking Laurentide ice sheet. At its height during the last glacial maximum, the ice sheet had been, by some metrics, the world's biggest glacier. Once, it had covered most of present-day Canada and huge parts of the northern United States. For millennia, the waves of the lake lapped against the ice sheet's retreating flank. One day, the long thaw may have reached a critical point. Suddenly, the ice could no longer hold back the water. What must it have been like to be on the lakeshore as the water smashed through the ice like a liquid hammer? Can you imagine how the waves must have roared and the earth must have trembled? In an instant, up to 4 million cubic meters of water slammed into rivers and rushed out towards the Arctic or Atlantic Oceans. That's how much water broke free every second for a year. It was more than the total discharge of all of today's rivers combined. By the time the flood abated, the waters of Lake Agassiz had fallen by up to 200 feet. Perhaps 15,000 cubic kilometers of water had drained into the ocean. It was enough to shut down the warm currents of the North Atlantic and drag a good part of the world back into glacial conditions. Or so most scientists have believed. There are other, even more extreme explanations for the cooling that set in 12,900 years ago. And there is a frightening possibility. As today's warming melts the Greenland ice sheet, the currents of the Atlantic Ocean may be weakening again. Soon, they could collapse. Depending on where you live, another deep freeze may loom in your future.